Call to order the November 9th Danby Select Board meeting. Please rise and join me in the pledge to the flag.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all.
Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Abbott.
Here.
Bowers. Fuller.
Present.
Haines.
Here.
Bender.
Present. Beth, would you read the process for remote access?
Yes, sir. Remote access to select board meetings, while not required by law, is offered in order to encourage access and participation for as many of our town's citizens as possible. It is understood that a select board meeting is a meeting open to the public, but not a public meeting per se. Business is conducted and votes are cast by board members. Therefore, the public attendees, in person and remote, who wish to comment on an agenda action item when it is addressed in the course of the meeting, should indicate such intention during the public comment period at the beginning of the meeting. To maintain order as well as the efficiency of the meeting, the rules for remote attendee participation are: remote attendees will be muted by online host upon joining the meeting, remaining so unless recognized to speak. Intention or desire to speak in order to comment or ask questions will be indicated by use of the hand-raising function of the remote platform. People will be recognized in the order in which the hand-raising function is activated. Online host will alert the chair to the presence of remote questions and or comments. Remote participants, when recognized, will unmute their device and identify themselves with clearly spoken first and last name. Comment or question will be limited to 2 to 3 minutes, after which participant will be muted. This time limit will apply to in-person participants as well. General ground rules concerning decorum remains the same as that which is expected of citizens, guests, and board members attending in person. Namely, the speaker will not be interrupted and will not interrupt other speakers. The speaker will treat the proceedings and other speakers with dignity and respect, addressing the issue and not personalities. Procedures for use of the online platform and the above standards will be reviewed at the beginning of each meeting. So done.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Who is joining us remotely?
Let's see here. I have KB Donahue, Chris Hardaway and Terry Parker, Doug White, Gary Durr, Tima Shana, and I thought I had an iPhone person, but that's disappeared, so I don't have it now.
Okay. Next, I'll entertain a motion to set the agenda, and we have a couple additions. Rick, I'm sorry, I forgot your last name.
Morales. Rick Morales.
Morales.
Yeah, Morales Morales.
Okay, so Rick would like to speak with us, and we're going to put him right under Mark, and then after Rick is done, we're going to have Jen talk to us about the question she has about dump stickers. Any other additions?
I'll make a motion we approve the agenda as amended.
Thank you. Is
I'll
there a
second it.
Motion made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Okay. So
I'll get that.
now we go into public comment. Is there any public comment that's other than what we have on the agenda?
Nothing here.
Okay, there being none, I will entertain a motion to adopt the minutes of the select board meeting of September 14.
I'll make the motion.
Motion made, is there a second?
I'll second that.
Seconded by Abbott. Is there any corrections or deletions? Hearing none, all those in favor of adopting the minutes, please say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously. And now we have Mike, what's your last name?
Wesko, W-E-S-K-O.
You have that, Andrea? Okay, so Mike wants to talk to us about a dog issue. Have you seen that?
Yeah, do you have the paper that I think I gave to Colette, the December 9th, 2022, to Sheriff Fox?
Yes.
As you can see on the bottom, there's quite a few signatures. I can't remember the exact number, 12, 14. I've been going around and round with trying to resolve an issue with a neighbor who has aggressive/violent dogs that he is unwilling to take control of and be responsible to. I've talked with Sergeant Cross with the Sheriff's Department, Sergeant Herrick with the Sheriff's Department, and actually Sheriff Fox himself hand-delivered that letter to me. They have Australian Shepherds that they're actually breeding. We'll get to that. This all culminates the beginning of this month when a neighbor, Joan Gurian, who filed a complaint with the Sheriff's Department and with the town of Danby that she was bitten by the dog. So roughly 11 months after trying to get some resolve to this issue, what everybody's been telling me, the sheriff, the two sergeant, until the dog bites somebody, there's nothing we can do. The dog bit somebody. All right? It's an uncontrolled situation. I have tried to speak to this person 3 times on 3 separate incidences concerning his dogs being on my property, killing his abandoned guinea hens. Put that in perspective. His guinea hens left their property because the dogs were hunting.
Right.
They end up on our property. My wife goes to talk to him about the guinea hens starting at 4:30 in the morning, if you know guinea hens, while our daughter is doing homeschooling at college, 4:30 in the morning. His response to her, they're free range, aren't they? Talking about the guinea hens on our property. I have witnessed personally the dogs attack a jogger on Lily Hill Road, where I'm taking a guess at this, a 5 or 6-year-old girl, the daughter of the couple that has the dogs, cuts out into the road without looking to try to take control of the dog that's trying to attack the jogger. They both end up down in the ditch on the opposite side of the house, back to the other side. I'm coming up Lily Hill from Kelly Hillside. He's outside at the end of the garage watching it. I never heard his voice, and he had a grin on his face like this is entertainment. I pulled up to the end of the driveway, rolled the window down, he turns around and walks away from me. I approached him when his 2 dogs killed 4 of his guinea hens on my property while he's working in the town of Paulet on his in-laws' house. I'm talking to him about the incident that just took place. He turns around and walks away and closes the door. All right, the dog finally bit somebody. There needs to be something done to the dogs and to the owners of the dogs to control their animals.
Now, you didn't get any response from the sheriff's department? Is that
No,
what-
the town of Danby is one of 2 towns in the entire state that doesn't have an animal enforcement officer.
Right,
There's nothing for them to do.
right.
Well, we name the sheriff as our enforcement officer.
We do, formally.
That's my understanding.
It's a convoluted situation. We've talked to Fish and Wildlife, the game department. We've talked to other resource officers from other towns. The other animal enforcement officers from other towns despise this type of situation. They're breeding dogs that are known to be vicious. All right? I have
I have a question.
Yeah.
The woman that was bitten,
Joan Gurry.
did she file a report?
Yeah, she called Colette or
But did
Or
she
did
file a report with the
state
sheriff's department?
police or the
the
sheriff?
sheriff's department, Sergeant
And,
Harris.
and
So
they didn't respond.
They did not, sorry for that.
See, we don't
So then,
have a dog
so
catcher.
my understanding,
Which
That's why we
Yeah,
have
what I
the
was-
sheriff.
Yeah, but is it formally in their contract for?
What Sergeant Herrick told me just recently when he was out, which I didn't get to that issue why he was even there. This was after Joan got bit.
So
The
she,
neighbor's 2 dogs. I'm outside working on a piece of equipment in my driveway. The 2 dogs are loose. They boxed me in on my own property.
Yeah, no, and I mean, it's obviously, you got plenty of good stories for,
Yeah.
but I guess I'm trying to get to the issue of.
Here's what Sergeant Herrick told me when he came out that day, when that happened, is that he said, this is his words, they aren't, not mine, according to the Vermont state laws, the town of Danby has 7 days to resolve the issue of the dog biting people. Or I think he said, or at the next meeting, which would be now. Since she filed her report with them.
And do you have the date that she was bit?
She was bit in early October. I don't have the exact date.
Well-
They are second homeowners.
Yeah, I know.
So they were there on the weekend. You know, and the bigger concern too is that if you look at the list of people on there, I could add another 6 names to there. People have stopped walking past their house. Okay, whether it's the Adjourns, whether it's.
Yeah, and I mean, you got a real good valid point. I think that we don't need to, we've got to get to the issue of, we have no, yeah, and if we don't have, because it used to be an elected position that no one would take. So then it became appointed to the constable, and I don't know that it was formally ever done. But now we don't have a constable, so we have a sheriff's department. And I guess I would assume that they would be considered our animal control officer if they would take that into the contract, which there's nothing saying that they have to, but I would assume that we should have a discussion with them about what their position is, other than assuming that that's their, because it sounds like they're denying the animal control part. And right now, we have no animal control officer. But I would think that it's still against the law to have your dog, I mean, now you're outside of the purview of the town, that's basically an assault on the person by the dog. So the owner would be responsible. So I don't see where it's a dog complaint at that point. Now it's actual criminal offense.
so the woman that got bit, she filed a report. So then she needs to get an attorney and press charges, because then the dogs will be euthanized.
Her husband is an attorney.
Then she needs to get her husband moving forward to press charges.
So there's nothing that the town or the sheriff can do then.
I'm just speaking solely on the dog bite
Right.
situation.
Well, and you are
that's-
speaking solely on your own authority. You are not representing the select board.
No, just on
Okay, understood.
experience with situations of dog bites. That for her to have anything from that, because they can hold them liable and go after everything.
Mhm.
But on the town's point, I can't help with that.
Mhm.
But just to tell her that she needs to pursue it to the fullest extent
Mhm.
for
So-
damages.
So Mr. Fuller, your understanding is that this is maybe because there is no animal control officer, no constable, the sheriff's department took the contract for the town of Danby?
And you may have brought up a loophole that we've never discussed with them that we need to make sure that they're aware of.
But
Because,
it's my understanding that that is part of their responsibility. When we contracted with them, we discussed that at that time, and they accepted that responsibility. So I'm gonna have to reread the contract. It's been a few years. You know, we renew it, but it's boilerplate.
right, no, yeah, because it's been going on now, what, 10, 12 years or more.
Probably.
So,
There's a question here from Gary Durr. Does the town of Danby have a leash ordinance?
No.
I'm gonna make a reference, I don't know the statute off the top of my head, but every time I've seen the dogs off the property, they are uncollared. Okay, supposedly there's an underground fence.
And I also, I believe, have this correct, that they are unlicensed?
According to the office people,
Yes.
Okay, the way the statute reads, and I'll use the word, it says, the owners of dogs shall license and register their animals with the town that they reside in. It doesn't say may or can, it says shall. I think it's Title 17.
But then we're still back to if the sheriff's department is actually our animal enforcement. And if they are, and it's under the agreement, they're actually not doing their job.
And on top of it, we don't know if the dogs are current on the rabies shots.
Correct.
Right.
So there's, I mean, it's a bigger.
Well, if they're uncollared and untagged, it would be an automatic pickup, I would believe, by the animal enforcement officer, which we're saying is the sheriff's department.
And they're saying that they
this is the first time it's been dealt with in my time here. So I think it's something that we should get to the bottom of with the sheriff's department.
Since Danby has no zoning, if there's a state statute, does it refer back to the select board to enforce the statute?
Well, everything goes to the select board for statute, for enforcement.
Yeah, but since there's no zoning.
Yeah, but it wouldn't matter if there was or
Wouldn't matter
not,
if
it would
there
still
was.
go to the
Okay.
select board.
Zoning would just cover,
Right, because they're basically, they're running a puppy mill as well. And they've had 4 or 5 litters in less than a year. State statute says anything over 3 years has to be a licensed, registered kennel.
So that would be under the state ordinance there, that
Right,
they're,
but again, because there's no,
no, it's still state, it doesn't matter if it's a state law, it's a state law, not a,
who would enforce that then? Because I haven't been able to get a straight answer to that from anybody.
you're asking a lot of good questions tonight that I don't wanna go on.
We were sent to the Department of Ag on some of these questions.
who sent you there, the sheriff?
Oh, it's such a, I'd have to get the file of the paperwork out and give you the runaround.
Well, as long as the select board is okay with it, I would like to speak with our town attorney.
Yeah.
And,
get to the bottom of how this, but we also gotta speak with the sheriff's department and,
well, before I speak to him, I want to know that what I'm saying is in fact in an ordinance, and that's why I want to talk.
You need to speak with Janice as well, because
Oh, I have.
if my memory serves correctly from when I was the constable, any unlicensed dog, the constable has the right to destroy.
Correct.
at least pick up and take immediately.
To pick up and destroy immediately if it's unlicensed.
Because it bit somebody or just because it's?
Because it wasn't licensed with the town of Danby is the way I remembered it.
Right. But
But that,
I
to the
really
best of my
wanna-
knowledge, had never been enforced before, but there used to be, they would send out a letter that your dog wasn't registered this year, but it was last year, if you have till April 1st
And
to
they do
register it, or the constable will destroy your dog, is how it was worded.
But I want to hear these words from the mouth of our attorney, because laws may have changed, who knows?
Yeah, no, I think that's he could help us get to the bottom of this issue. And then I think once because we still have no animal enforcement officer, which is, we have to make sure is clear with the sheriff's department. And so that conversation needs to be had as well. And then the sheriff's department would have to do it under that part, but it wasn't as simple an answer as I think you were looking for tonight, and I wished we.
Actually, I kind of knew this walking in here. You know, the end story of all this is that the presence of those dogs on that corner of Kelly and Lily Hill has changed the nature and the openness of the entire community. Like I said, you've got.
Well, I can tell you one thing, we'll get to the bottom of it.
All right.
We can't, you know, just because we can't give you a quick answer, like right this minute, say, you know, magically we
I
got
didn't
it.
expect that.
We will definitely get to the bottom of it, and those dogs will be confiscated if they're unlicensed, or, you know, and obviously, we'll,
And the Gurians, I mean, Shep, if you know Shep, he's been a lawyer for 40 plus years. He knows his rights too. He's giving the town, in essence, you know, the ability to correct the situation of the 4 other dogs, if you will. Whatever he's gonna do about the dog biting Joan, he's gonna do.
Right.
But there's, even after that's taken care of, there's still the issue of
Right.
the
Right.
uncontrolled,
Who's gonna get bitten?
it's actually the uncontrolled owner of the dogs.
Yeah,
And, you know, they're work dogs. I've had work dogs. Okay, there's only two reasons that I'm aware of that a work dog will bite a person. Either bad breeding or abuse. And that abuse takes many forms. Not proper exercise, no work for them to do, being confined in a tight space, which I believe that they are. So of course the dogs are gonna react to that because they're in essence being abused, not being treated for the way that they were originally bred. It's a bad situation.
Well-
If you could hear the dogs going off when they just let them out of the house 3 or 4 out at a time, it sounds like somebody's actually being tortured to hell. They go after each other. They go to cut the grass. The dogs are literally, and I've seen it, attacking the lawnmower while they're cutting the grass. It's so out of control that this is why I'm here, looking for some assistance and some help.
yeah,
Get
they're
this
supposed
resolved.
to be herding sheep.
Yeah.
Well, definitely we will, it isn't something that we're just gonna let go. We'll get the town's legal rights, find out who our animal control officer, which I agreeing with Brad, I've never formally seen, is the sheriff's department. And that there's no reason, especially if there is abuse going on, that all the animals can't be
Yeah,
caught.
and when I say abuse, that abuse is, you know, saying that they don't have proper run areas. They're
Right.
trying to control them with an electric collar and an underground fence. He talked to my next door neighbor right across from me saying, well, he feels bad for the dogs because it's burning their skin. Well, if the underground fence is burning their skin with the shock
means they're
collar on
crossing it.
there's something wrong, isn't there?
Right, yeah.
So I think you get the idea.
Okay, so we have somebody,
Chris Hardaway had a comment here. I think he's citing a state statute, 20 VSA 3550, enforcement designee can assess $500 penalty.
could you tell me those numbers again?
Yes,
VSA?
it's 20 V.S.A. and then that statute sign,
Yeah.
I think it is, 3550. Is that a section sign?
Subsection 3550.
And it says enforcement designee can assess $500 penalty. I'm not sure for what. Whether that's for not licensing your dog
Okay,
or,
well, we'll get to the bottom of that.
Yeah, no, we'll,
I appreciate all your time. I think it's supposed to be a limit.
Okay.
I
will-
appreciate it. Thank
I will
you.
get on it tomorrow.
Okay.
Okay, next we have a presentation from Rutland Solid Waste.
Yes. Thank you, and thank you for putting this on your agenda. My name is Mark Shea, I'm the district manager, and we have Brianna Franzoni, who you've met before, who is the program manager. And she's gonna be passing you out a little slideshow. I think this way it will be a little bit more efficient instead of getting too fancy. How's everyone tonight?
Just happy to be here.
There's some subjects that are never small. So tonight, I want to talk to you about how we've been doing our program here, that in the beginning of a few months ago, I'll tell you exactly when we met with you guys before, to talk about a grant that we received from USDA on a program for expanded outreach. Through a USDA Rural Development Grant and letters of support from each of our member towns, the Rutland Solid Waste District created and was approved a project to increase recycling in compost rates using outreach and education community engagement. The project works to align the knowledge base within 12 rural communities within the district with new laws, practices, innovative tools where proficiency is needed to be efficient and successful when managing solid waste. We talked about some of the laws. If you go on to the next page, we have, in July 1st, 2015, all the recyclables are mandated. You need to recycle them. You can't put them in the trash. Not only throwing recyclables in the trash is against the law. So, as of that date, July 1st, 2016, leaf and yard debris, that is illegal to dump in the trash. It has to be separated and dealt with differently. And the more recent one was food scraps in July 1st, 2020. It is illegal to normally throw food scraps in the trash, according to Act 148. These are a lot of changes, and sometimes it takes people a while to get used to it. This is one of the reasons we came to you in the first place when we were thinking about how can we make this better. This is one of our goals and our missions that align with the communities within the district. Rutland Solid, we met with the board and PAT members on April 5th to do the kickoff of this project, the participants with the outreach program. Mailers were sent out to all permanent Danby residents on April 24th. Roughly 541 mailers went out to residents in town talking about how to participate in this program. One of the things that are different from this program than other ones that we've heard of within the New England Northeast area was that mailers weren't included in the project. And we wanted to see how much that made a difference. And I think that's one of the reasons why we got this grant, because it did something, it's trying something different. How do you reach people in the community? How do you engage them? Of course, less than knocking on everyone's person's door and say, you know, listen to us for a half an hour, like a vacuum cleaner salesperson, per se. I'm exaggerating, but you know, people have different values, different goals, and how they deal with their trash.
So what you're saying is, and just to be correct, is reaching out to people to meet what the rules are saying, and your guys are concerned that we're not meeting those goals.
No, that's one of the things. What's your diversion rate? We want to make it better. So these
Do you guys know what they are?
Yeah.
So what are you saying? Where are we lacking?
Well, I'll get to that.
Okay. No.
That's a strong word, but let me put that in context. We also sent out emails to all those that had permits within the district, and anyone that's on a monthly mail-out calendar or newsletter. So any contacts that we had, any contacts that people had in town, we reached out to them in some way to try to see if they're interested in participating in the program. We even went out to, as I said, the MailChimp newsletter on June 28th, explaining the details of the grant and the program and everything. And the whole thing is to align goals. When we met with you, we talked about some of the things that this Danby was interested in, and perhaps something to be aware of, and how this town is maybe a little bit different than Proctor or West Rutland, and try to take those suggestions and try to mitigate it with what we have. Well, we wanted to identify the needs as it relates to trash, create partnerships and teams to build upon the needs of the town. We want to build capacity to reduce diversion rates, increase recycling rates, introduce best management practices, and increase residents' expendable income. How do you do that? If you're recycling, you don't, usually it's less expensive, because you don't put that in the trash, and the trash costs usually money. Introduce best management practices to decrease homeowners' taxes. Increase awareness and change behavior, provide final analysis to the select board. Right now, This is a closeout meeting, talking about all the material or information that we've heard. There's gonna be more information coming to address Tom's, what is your diversion rate? But we're right in the middle of a quarter on collecting that data. So what we're gonna do is take a look at before the program and after the program and see if we see anything that's compelling. It's only a short period of time, and there's other things, and I'll go into that too. But at the end of this program, when we get all the information from all the towns and we do our rollout meeting to each of the select boards, there's gonna be a report, an academic research paper, white page if you want, to talk about each town and derive analysis, how we do, how we compare, what are our strengths, what are our weaknesses, is there other opportunities out there, and where do we go from there? So that will be coming hopefully before the end of the year. I plan on it before the end of the year. So that would be the final analysis. So we'll take a look at the data, and I want to have Brianna talk about that. She is data analysis extraordinaire. And, yeah, please.
So the first graph here just shows the participation rates across the span of every town. There was an average participation rate of 18 individuals per town, and Danby had 7 individuals participate, so this town had an overall participation rate of 3.2%.
Now, and just so that I'm clear on this, this is a participation rate of a survey. Okay, I just wanted to make sure I knew what we were talking about.
Yeah. So then one of the questions we asked was, how do you dispose of your solid waste? 14% of residents said they use an at-home pickup service, and then 86% said they use a local transfer station. So that just kind of gave us a flavor of how everyone deals with their solid waste in this town.
That's just for Danby.
Yeah, this is all just all of this.
But is that, those percentages based on only 7 individuals?
Yeah.
So that's not even, what's the?
It's data based on a very small
Yeah,
sample.
Yeah.
Like a pretty inadequate sample, but that's, I guess, on us, but for not participating. I don't know.
Yeah.
Did everyone take the survey in here?
I was never aware of your survey.
I was the survey distributed.
I just talked about.
All those ways
Yeah.
that it says on that page.
Yeah. So
I hate
I'm
mine
learning
at our
something.
meeting.
I'm learning something.
Yeah.
We all are. And this, I think if we do that in itself, is going to be value for the future.
It says mailers, emails, and a MailChimp newsletter.
Right, but how would you get on those mailings?
It's mailed to your house.
Yeah, but
How would you get my email?
Oh.
yeah, but how would you get my email or?
If you had a permit, or if you, from the district? No.
Why
Okay.
would I? I'm just a private citizen
right.
who carries my little bag down.
But other towns have permits, so that's, it would have been.
So you guys
people
had a
from
better
other
access
towns
ability
their
through that.
That's
permits.
another
So you
point.
did not
Yeah.
send a direct mail, you did
We
not?
did, yes,
I never got
to each
one.
house. If you pay taxes or any household that is on the lister list, tax list, those are the addresses that we sent it to.
When did those go out?
April 24th, 2023.
So that's 6 months ago now.
The program was 3 steps. You take a 4-minute survey, answer about 15 questions, and then you watch a presentation that lasts for about 10 minutes and talks about all the things that you need to do. If you had any extra questions that you had specifically, you can call the outreach person or myself or Brianna, and we can fill you in on it. You take another post-survey, which is about 4 minutes also, and that data is the some of what you see here.
So wait, you send actual snail mail out, and that encourages someone to then what, go online and do this?
It gives our contact information, it gives us links, it talks about the program and some of the incentives, like the composters and the blue bins at dramatically reduced prices if you participate in this little project.
So, okay, I'm sorry to take up so much space here. I'm just feeling like if I got that in the mail
Yep.
and it's saying, we need you to go online to do such and such, I'm like recycling.
Yep.
I'm recycling your piece of
So
paper.
you're just
I'm
saying
not
you're-
getting
you're-
online.
You're trying to get them to do a better marketing of their.
I don't
of
know,
their survey.
I wouldn't have done it. If you had actually sent me a paper survey, I might have gotten it out of the envelope and gone, sure. Oh, pre-mailer, hey, put it back in the mail, I would have done that. But if you're telling me, go get online and do this,
Yep.
nope, I don't have time.
Yep.
So-
And I don't know who you are, and there's not, I mean, it's so,
Okay. No,
anyhow.
Okay, let's move on.
yeah.
That is
No.
not inconsistent
I-
throughout the project.
I'm just giving you that feedback, so,
Okay, I appreciate it.
yeah.
Yeah. Oh, it's something that we're busy these days. We get lots of mail in our mailboxes. And some of it is solicitations on this, some of it is that. Do I have time to make a phone call to see if I can help the town get information so they can make better decisions? At the time, no. And it gets, as I hear, it's just another piece of junk mail. I thought, and the grantor thought, that is something worth exploring. We tried it, and it didn't happen for this town. I agree.
That's why it's
Yep.
7%.
Yep,
But you
Yeah.
did well in Wallingford.
we tried. we tried all summer. Okay.
So the next graph, one of the questions was, does your household recycle? And if so, how often? So even though we had limited data, it showed that the vast majority of individuals do recycle, which was a positive. The next graph shows, does your household compost? And if so, how often? The vast majority of individuals said they do every day, which is also very positive, even though there wasn't many people who participated. And then the next page shows what items should never go into the trash bag or the landfill. So those who took the pre-survey, it shows a percentage of who said if the items belong in the landfill. So it shows that for many items, Danby residents found that they shouldn't go in the landfill, and a lot of them were hazardous waste items, which is really positive to see that people are recognizing these items don't belong in the landfill. So that was a good thing to see.
Is there a reason why banana peels and coffee grounds are singled out?
They're not supposed to go in the.
Right, they're food
Because they're
scraps.
food scraps.
But, I mean, I don't see steak bones and other stuff singled out. I'm just asking, is there a reason for those two items?
Those would be going into the compost food waste. So you do.
If I remember right, Brad, on their survey, that was the example they gave you.
Okay.
That was a specific example on the survey.
Had no reason.
Like it said
other than-
compost, i.e. this, or e.g. this.
It was just,
Yes.
if they said
Okay.
compost, i.e., then you would automatically say, oh wait, it's compost. I shouldn't
Yeah.
put that in there. This is testing you to see if you would actually throw the banana peel in the garbage.
Okay.
That's illegal. If you do that knowingly and
I'm a
wantonly.
composter from way back, so there you go.
That's excellent. So I think we talked about some of the results. Danby residents are above the overall average when it comes to knowledge and recycling, composting, and hazardous waste on the few test samples that we have. But if you take this as a proportion of what the town is, you have a good imagination for one thing, but it gives you something that we could, if we did put some extra sample, if we had a higher sample, it could be so much more. You guys have very strong opinions, which is really good. unless you have clear and open conversations, how do you learn? How do you know what you need, what you're missing to make this even better? So one idea is if you were to do your single sort and not contaminate that, you won't be charged fees. That would reduce the town's obligations and fees for contamination. If you were to take all that food waste, once upon a time, it was considered 40% of your trash was food waste. So if you take 40% of the cost of that bag and put it where your food waste is, that's a savings to you. It's a savings to the town. In general, there could be specific exceptions where you have difficulty handling that, but I know there's a really good person in town that does a really good job here.
So, and I mean, I apologize if we jumped on you about your survey because no one was
Didn't mean to be rude.
was
Just saying.
doing that.
Neither.
But do we have any evidence that we're not above average or below average or in average with the rules? Or are you just trying to do better to make it? I mean,
It's hard to even say that because of the sample that the town.
but a sample is still you can ask me any question you want. Am I lying? I mean,
It's a recording.
So, they may just fill it out and whatever so I guess my concern is, can the town do better at recycling or are they at 100%?
We can always do better.
So you're sure that we're not recycling everything we can?
I don't have information that leads to me to believe anything contrary. One of the things that we provide from the district is to visit you guys in the springtime, in the fall.
Right.
And kind of give a little training. This is what we see here, this is what we see there. Give pictures. And I share it with the board, or whoever would like that, at least the representative, saying, hey, you got bad things hanging outside your transfer station, and if a state inspector were to come and see this would be a problem for you. So we try to help with that. If you do get cited for an alleged violation, we're here to help you manage that without getting into further trouble. But I can tell you that they're coming out. They've been out inspecting transfer stations, like 3 of them already around this area in this district. So you want to make sure you don't have bad things hanging around. You're not collecting things you shouldn't be collecting. You're making sure that when people put things in the single sort, it's not something that you don't allow something not allowed in there. And I think you'd be okay. Watch out for cardboard. Watch out for bad things going in the trash.
Watch out for cardboard and what we're
Yeah, cardboard is recyclable. It
Yeah.
shouldn't be put in the trash.
Right.
Yeah, those things like that.
So does our hauler, whoever picks up, is it Casella?
Yeah.
Yes.
Do they analyze?
Yes, they do.
And so
then
isn't that where we
pictures
would
back that
get
show what was
more
put in there,
information?
and they tell us what our fine
Yeah,
is.
because we had clothes in a recycle one time.
We had now it's plastic, but they didn't like it for some reason. We had all the tubing from a maple sugar operation thrown in recycling, and that was a no-no.
See, I think the problem is, and I mean, and I'm sure you've come across, and Steve probably has, is recycling isn't as simple as you would, because DEF containers.
Yeah.
We all now have to go through more DEF containers than we've ever gone through plastic jugs in our life. Why are they not recyclable? I mean, they're a plastic container. We're going through hundreds of them.
They accept.
DEF is non-toxic.
Diesel exhaust fluid. And I'm sorry for wasn't clear with that.
They accept number 1s, number 2s, natural and clear, number 5s. But none of that could be black.
Was it?
Or they can't be the tanglers, like
But the diesel exhaust fluid containers, are you aware of what I'm talking about? Okay, it's a plastic jug. I probably got one. They're clear.
What number is it?
But we were told that they're not recyclable.
What
That
number? Plastic.
I got one in my truck.
I got one in the garage if you want one.
Well, I'm just so wondering, so that we'd get, but that's a non-recyclable. I mean, that's a hard one for me to understand that a clear plastic jug is not. So there you're gonna, I mean, when the rules things are invented every day.
One thing where you can find out is if you look at the bottom of the container, it'll have like a triangle and with a number inside of it. 1, 2s, or 5s.
Are good or
Are
bad?
good.
Wait,
As long as you're not black.
1, 2s, and 5s?
There's no market for it.
Oh, so that's,
There's talk about styrofoam, there's talks about 3s and 4s for the pellet bags and stuff like that, but there's no market for it. It's cost prohibitive, and no one wants to take it.
All right, so I guess the whole meaning of this was to come in and refresh us on this. And it was a great conversation to have because you can tell how much we've all been involved in it. And I mean, we all recycle and we all compost, but I'm saying as far as the participation rate in your survey and stuff.
It's a start. And, you know, the big thing is I get to come out and I visit you twice. I get to know you a little bit better. And I get to know the room a little bit better. And I know you guys are passionate. And I like that. The more you get into trash, you find out there's not just trash. There's paper, there's boxboard, there's cardboard, there's paper, and there's paper with plastic coating on it. So each item, there's like another 20 rabbit holes. You get into plastics, and because there's 9 numbers. What's happening to the other 6? And we deal with 3, and we can't say black. What about HHW? Oh, that's an associate's course, college course to learn how to do that. We're here to help, and if you have any questions, we're here to a phone call, an email to help your day. We always get back to you.
We appreciate the help, but I think the biggest help would be if they could make the recycling simpler. As you say, you got to have an associate's degree in recycling to properly recycle.
For HHW, yeah, that's one category. It's not difficult. I think it's just practicing it. You know, someone that knows it and one who doesn't is a lot more. People learn. I learned by touching. When I do it, I'm doing it. I know how to do it.
So it sounds like our poor attendant should be making about $150,000 a year.
We'll get him out there giving a little how-to.
Well, and again, does our hauler separate out the 3s and 4s?
They're single source, so they'll take anything that's recyclable. If it's non-recyclable is what Brad brought up, that if like when clothes were thrown into the recycle
Yeah,
bin,
but if it's one of these other numbers that's not, that there's no market for, that's not contaminating our recyclables.
It is.
It is?
If it's a certain percentage of the load, they'll take pictures of it and charge you a higher price.
Yeah.
Much higher price.
So the non-recyclables go in the garbage, so we're still putting recyclables in the garbage.
If it's not landfill banned.
If it's not landfill
food
banned.
waste.
So black plastic.
22.
You have all these signs out at the transfer station.
Yeah, we do.
You do.
And it's raining, and there's a backup, and people don't have time to stand there reading
And the
signs.
road crew's trying to make their
Right,
sand pile.
exactly.
People are afraid. And
Yeah.
I get it. This is why it's not gonna be a one-day fix-it or one
No.
project fix-it. It's a process of continuation and having our conversations, and if you just
But you have no report card for us in general, other than the survey that you guys are, I mean, without going through our trash and looking to see where we're at. We're kind of got to go on our surveys. I know I've said this 3 times, but I'm just wondering how we actually, is there anything we're not recycling that should be recycled? Is there anything that...
Are there any red flags?
Yeah, is there anything, other than the person that threw clothes in the thing, and that's the only one I've got for...
In our pre-survey, when we first came out, we talked about your diversion rates. And we did it with the whole town. If you still have that packet that we passed out to a few that were here, it shows you diversion rates. I think that's an important analysis to see what you're doing this time last year.
Do you know what our diversion rate
Not
is?
off the top of my head.
Could you define what that is
Yeah.
for people?
Say your trash is 10, and you only have trash in there.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so what and how much plastics you have? You take it. How pure is your how pure are you doing the right thing? How is your recycling?
Basically, what he's trying to tell you is the diversion rate is the amount of recyclables that you've reduced from your trash container.
Landfill.
Oh, that I've diverted from trash.
Yes.
Yes.
Diverted from the landfill.
Yep, and you
That's
increase
helpful.
and you increase your recyclables by doing that usually.
I actually mail in my wax cartons to a place in Michigan. I'm a recycler.
There's a few. We have places like that.
All right, now-
if you're really interested in how to
It's
do
costly,
it. Yeah.
but yeah. Okay.
Okay, thank you, Mark.
Appreciate the effort.
We tried. We'll be sending you the final report. I'll reach out to you. I'm interested in seeing it myself, and you'll see the other towns. And it will have some diversion information on there. But to answer you, is there any one panacea here that is saying you're bad or good? No, it's a process. And, usually in the springtime, summertime it gets busier. Around this time it gets slower. We had a pandemic here, so that kind of threw things out of whack. And if you take a look at any kind of statistical information, you need to take, hopefully you have a big sample, and you need to track it over time and see the trends.
I'd be very interested in what you'd get on a return on a paper prepaid envelopes mailer, where your survey is on paper with a mailer to mail it back. Snail mail both
Do
ways.
you think that would be good?
I
was optimistic in the beginning of this. I was really optimistic.
I'm just speaking for myself, but even those things that they give you at the end of your thing at any store now, where participate in our survey. If you're gonna make me go online, I'm not doing it. I'm on the computer all the time as it is. I don't want to do it.
Yep.
But I would do the other because I am interested.
That's good to hear. That's something we need to take a look at.
Yeah.
If that's what would get
I know it's not the way of
400 people.
the 21st century, but
We're not all there. We get different levels. We're at different ages of our life, and we have different experiences of what we like.
Thank you.
It's us trying to find how can we get it all, and it's going to be a process.
Okay, we need to move on. Rick's been very patient.
Thank you.
waiting for us. Rick.
Didn't bring enough, or
We just need 4.
yeah, because
okay.
sorry for that. They got my copies. So thanks for having me here for the time and opportunity. I'm Rick Morales. I work with the SBA, Small Business Administration, but the Office of Disaster Assistance. We are not regular SBA. That means that we don't only assist businesses, but also homeowners, renters, nonprofits, and of course businesses. Why I'm here? Because this is related to the past floods between July 7 and July 21. Why I'm here? Because the people move. We are still here. Because all the people that were flooded, they moved to different towns, cities, and counties. And some people didn't apply, or they applied but they didn't complete the procedure. Some people are in the procedures of the appeal or reconsideration. So right now, the updates are that the last center was in Berry City. We closed today. The people could apply with FEMA and SBA in that building in Berry, Washington County, but
the updates are that the people can still apply with FEMA and SBA within this 2 weeks grace period, because the deadlines with the SBA for physical damages, that means for infrastructure, real estate, inventory equipment, for homeowners, renters, non-profits, and businesses, was October 31st. But because we have that 2 weeks grace period, that's why the people can still apply. Of course, they have to justify why they are applying late, but they can do the same with FEMA. So at least they can hope the people that didn't complete the procedures or didn't apply, they can still apply with FEMA and SBA. We have another deadline. That deadline is for the economic damages. That for businesses or for some non-profits. That means for the losses of profits of the businesses. I know that not all the towns in all the primary counties have damages, but you'll know that I'm visiting here because also I want that I have done so many select board meetings. I did media today because that's what we want, the federal agencies, so the government can help us to share the information with the citizens and constituents, the survivors, that they might be living here. I know that they are living in Rhode Island. I know a lot of them. So, or you can have family from different towns or counties, like in Washington County, of course, that you can share that. We are pushing information. We want to keep informed. We want to inform the people and help more people. I'm from Puerto Rico, so I think that I know more Vermont than Puerto Rico. I have been driving all Vermont, all the primary counties, Rhode Island, Orange, California, Windsor. We have Washington, almost all the counties, traveling and informing about this. I want to inform that the people get discouraged with the SBA. That's why I don't only come to these meetings to explain general things. The people get discouraged, but they need to understand all this information also is important for possible future events. That's why I have so many explanations, but for possible future events, all this information is important. And like I was saying, the people get discouraged with the SBA because of course you all know that we are not grants, but they need to comprehend that they need to complete the procedures. I'll give some examples. When they are denied by FEMA, most of the time FEMA refer the citizens to the SBA. Of course, they get discouraged because no one, you know what, I don't want to mention the name because the name doesn't mean the thing, and we have so much benefits that I explained. So, if you are denied by SBA too, SBA might refer them back to FEMA, and FEMA might give them other disaster assistance like grants. That's for homeowners and renters. At least they can have hope to receive something if they complete the procedures, because we work jointly with FEMA. We are like a financial verification process of FEMA. So we work together. That's why they need to complete the procedures. Some people use this, for example, if they have insurance, instead of waiting for that payment or settlement, they might get the money faster with us and review quicker. That's another technique that the people use with the SBA. Instead of just saying, no, I'm not qualified, I don't want it. That's another way, because we have the 1 year deferment with 0% interest rates, nothing that year. That's why the people use this. The citizens use this also because within that year they can find other kind of resources with the non-profits, with the state. The people they are still applying with the state for those funds, with other federal agencies like USDA. I brought the fact sheet for the USDA for the disaster programs they have for homeowners, for renters, businesses, and for public assistance for government. We don't provide funds for government, we are only for individual assistance. You know that FEMA, of course, they have public assistance too, and individual assistance. We are only for homeowners, renters, non-profits, and businesses. That's very important to know. On those flyers, you can find the 800 number, so that's the starting point for the people to apply with the SBA, because we don't have any more physical buildings to apply, the same with FEMA. And also there is the website that the people can apply online. It's not the best way, it's not the best alternative, but right now that's the only option for the people that didn't go to these centers, to the disaster recovery centers, because the last one wasn't they closed. Another technique, the people that receive funds from FEMA, the maximum is like $41,000. If they receive less than that and they are not satisfied, for some constituents that's like a drop in a bucket, because their damages, they were so much, like hundreds of thousands. In the city of Montpelier, some businesses, they have like more than 200 or 300,000 inventory or equipment on damages. So that's That's a lot. So if you receive the 20,000, 30,000, that's not enough. So you can apply with the SBA because they can refer you to SBA. And if you are denied by SBA, you can attach that denegation letter and put that in the appeal of FEMA. Those are grounds to see if FEMA can increase the initial amount that they gave you. Another option that the people can still use. And that denegation letter is important too because that's your evidence that you're completing the procedures with the federal government to apply with other federal governments like USDA or FEMA or with the state or nonprofits. You are proving that you are being proactive. So that's why we always are informing the people, hey, complete the procedures with the SBA, even though you don't want it, because no fees to apply, you don't have to accept it. These are what's behind all this. These are more affordable ways for the people to recover. Why? FEMA can give everything to every person. It's not possible. Not enough money. We have more disasters. We have in Florida, Tennessee, in a lot of the states in the South. You know that that's the worst part of the United States, the South, and in the world. Too many disasters for the Congress and the federal government to give money to each person. So that's why we exist. We are an alternative. I know that we are not the best option, but for some people we are the only one and best option. Right now we have approved more than 26 million. So we have done great. The people is understanding this and taking advantage of these funds. But we want to keep pushing the information and see if we can at least help one more business, one more homeowner or renter or non-profits. That's what we want. I can keep talking, but I don't want to, bother you all with all this information because it's a lot, and I know that you have like a tight agenda. If you have any questions, would be great to answer.
Thank you very much.
Well, you are a very good speaker. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Bye. Good night, sir.
Any questions before he goes?
No, I'm good.
Sorry, I want to add something. In one of the flyers, so much information, is the SBDC, a Small Business Development Center. They are our research partners. That's for businesses. They know everything about all these federal agencies and about disaster, they give trainings, marketing, business plans. They know about everything. They are very good with it. I know that each town is composed more of homeowners than businesses because we are like in a rural country state. So they are very good for farmers because they can help them to analyze if they can apply with this federal agency or do this, do that. They are a good resource, valuable resource. They work for the state and they work for the SBA. So that means that we give them funds. So the Small Business Development Center, they are a research partner from the SBA, and on the first item is in that page, it's like the page number 4 or 5 in the SBA kit. It's a website, SBA.gov local assistance. So there the people can find the closest center in each county, so that they have business advisors. So that's the main point of contact for the businesses to talk to see what they can do about all this type of program. They know about loans, grants, they know everything. Very good resource for the citizens. The SBDC, Small Business Development Center. Yeah, thank you so much.
Okay, have a good evening. Okay, so next we have Jen about the dump stickers.
Okay, so Ken and I met, I don't remember when, back in probably September.
Yeah.
We went out and we got some quotes on dump stickers. The cheapest that we found were Twin City Print Shop. We could buy 25 labels for $500 in 3 different colors like we talked about. We were thinking that we'd have like maybe blue stickers that say Town of Danby small bag, and then a green sticker that says Town of Danby medium bag, and then a different color.
How much were the stickers again? I didn't hear you on that.
$500.
For how many?
For 25,000.
And is there any limit on the wording on that?
I quoted Town of Danby, like small, Town of Danby medium, and Town of Danby large. So if we change that, I'd have to go back and get it, make sure it's okay. So I'm just trying to figure out when we're going to put this into place.
How many of the original Town of Danby stickers do we have left?
Last time I checked, we had 4 rolls.
And how long will a roll take us?
I do not know. I can show you how, like there's 1,000 per roll. So.
Just buy them all now, Steve, so that we can move on.
Yeah, I'd make a motion, we go ahead and buy them all now.
Like, I wasn't sure if you guys had a plan as of January 1st, the new stickers were going into place, or are we gonna use all of our old stuff?
The last we talked about it, we were gonna use all of our old stock and then start new.
Okay,
But if somebody has the old stock, they can still use it, right?
Yeah, I mean,
I
if
would
somebody
say if
has a
somebody's
bunch of
already
them,
paid for 'em.
I wouldn't wanna just say, you know, you gotta use up your stickers, so bring in extra bags this week. Yeah, no,
One of the problems that we kind of came up with is we're gonna have a lead time of getting these stickers. Correct? So it's, when do we purchase them and when do we start using them? I guess.
well, I think we could probably purchase them anytime. We just don't wanna start selling them until we,
And it would be nice, hopefully we have enough stickers to get us through town meeting. That we can have a page in the town report that tells people what we're doing.
okay. And just talking about the descriptions, are you okay with Town of Danby, small, medium, and large?
Sounds good to me.
so that's what we came up with, 3 categories?
Yeah, and that's pretty much what everybody's doing, was the 3 different,
Kitchen
rather than
bag,
doing
33 gallon. And
kitchen bag or, you know, then debris bag. We're thinking just trying to keep it simple.
yeah, I like that.
Okay, so I will keep track of the stock, and as it depletes, I'll let you know.
But I think you should go ahead and order
Okay.
these. Then we're all set, right?
Yeah, I mean, we're gonna eventually switch to them, so.
Yeah.
Do you need a proper motion for that? or-
I'll make the motion that we,
Buy the 25,000 stickers.
yes.
I'll second it.
Motion's made and seconded. Any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
You got it. Road Commissioner.
Okay, Steve, what have you been doing?
Love how that always falls to me. It says road commissioner, Tom. So we've started our fall grading. Larry's covered quite a bit of road so far this week. He's going to be off for a couple days with the holiday and deer season starting. We've been stockpiling our winter sand. We've got, I believe, right around 800 ton left to bring in. We repaired a culvert on Keeler Road, and we've been doing some ditching and brush cutting when we have the time.
Lily Hill Bridge is,
Lily Hill Bridge is 80% done, probably. We have guardrails to put in next week, and I'm gonna say about 6 hours worth of dirt work left to do once the guardrails are installed, and that project will be completed. And then I can finalize our hours and prepare a bill to send to the state to get reimbursed for that grant.
now, how many more days of grading we got left?
Without speaking to Larry, I'm gonna say 3.
And should we have Randy? do
No.
s-
We need to keep Larry in the grader if we're gonna do it in 3 days.
Okay.
Randy is learning to run the grader very well, but he doesn't have the experience to grade as quickly as Larry does.
Oh, if Larry's not here though, what are we just gonna do, our sand? Get
We've
that?
got sand to do. We've got 3 days of setting up lights and doing traffic control for the guardrail company that's coming in this week that I forgot to mention.
Right,
Where are they working?
they're gonna do.
We're
Parish
going to
Hill.
do, like 1,600 foot of guardrail on Parish Hill.
New guardrail?
And then, yes, new used guardrail. And then we're doing new guardrail on Lily Hill for that bridge. And we are the traffic control to keep the expenses down. Plus, Randy has a meeting with the union Monday.
That got canceled.
Well, nobody's told him that yet.
Okay, well, please tell him that they sent us a message.
Yeah,
They're
it was
gonna
the
go
union
hunt.
that canceled, so.
Okay. So that's it.
Thank you. Any questions? Okay. Any old business? Any new business? Motion to adjourn?
I'll make it.
I will second that.
Made and seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
Say aye. Aye. Thank you.